We're here to talk about Vermont's innovative non-degree grant program, which is helping Vermonters with the education and training they need for jobs currently available with Vermont employers. VSAC's latest report on this program proves that very point, but I'll let Scott Giles talk about that more shortly. As the report shows, the non-degree grant program is an investment of our workforce that's having a real impact. This is exactly why funding for tech training and education is so important. We can help Vermonters advance their careers and help build a more qualified workforce for businesses. I talked about a vision for a more innovative and unified education system. The non-degree grant program highlights the value of looking at an education from cradle to career. Because when we invest in workforce training, we create greater opportunities for all Vermonters. The Department of Labor estimates that 7 out of 10 high-paying, high-demand jobs over the next decade will require some education and training after high school. If we want to help Vermonters get ahead, we must think differently about education and account for the demands of a 21st century workplace. Tuesday, I introduced a budget that will invest an additional $1 million in funding to the VSAC non-degree grant program. This investment gives us an opportunity to promote interest in STEM and traditional trades, and it will boost career and technical education programs across Vermont and at CCV. Vermont currently ranks at the bottom of the nation when it comes to post-secondary education spending. While our high school graduation rates are near the top in the nation, Vermont is well below the national average for continuing education, and we have the lowest percentage of students who continue their studies in New England. By taking a full spectrum approach to education, meaning early care through college and trades training, we will also support Vermont businesses. I hear from employers every day about open positions that can't be filled. Many of these positions require the types of skills training this non-degree grant program is providing right now. The investment we've made in this program will create real opportunities for Vermonters who need education and training for jobs that are waiting to be filled. We have a responsibility to rewrite the future for Vermont. So let's create opportunity together with education and training for a new workforce and a new economy. I'm going to now turn this over to Scott, President and CEO of VSAC, who will give us the numbers behind the success of this non-degree grant program.
Thank you very much, Governor Scott, and in particular, thank you for your leadership, your knowledge and understanding of the critical importance that education and training after high school, the critical importance it plays for all Vermont students, and for your request for an additional $1 million to support this critically important grant program. I think, as everybody here knows, VSAC was created 50 years ago to ensure that all Vermonters have access to the education and training that they will need. For many people, they think that most of our work is focused on traditional age students, but as you can see and learn today, we also focus a great deal of our attention on adult students of all ages. 35 years ago, Vermont was really at the forefront of thinking about the needs of adult students, created the non-degree grant, which really serves two purposes. One, for adult students that are looking for a single course, a certificate, something that will allow them to get into a trade or to get a job. The non-degree grant program will kind of help them pay for that particular program. Or for students who learn that they'll need additional education or training, the non-degree grant program often provides them the first opportunity to get back into a classroom, test to see that they're kind of really prepared for that and on the path to success. Last year, the legislature, as part of its focus on outcomes and performance, asked us to conduct a study of the effectiveness of the non-degree grant program, which we did this past year. Last year, roughly 1,700 Vermont students received the non-degree grant and used that in order to be able to obtain the course or the training that they needed. In our survey, we got over 500 responses from folks and learned some really important and powerful things about the outcomes. One, when we took a look at those students participating in the program that had been unemployed, 61% of them reported that they were employed full or part-time after having participated in the non-degree grant program. An additional 10% of them were back in school full or part-time, kind of working their way towards a longer-term credential or degree. So 70% of those Vermonters that were unemployed have kind of found a path forward for themselves. For those participants that were employed part-time, we saw the part-time employment, another 25% of them were able to move into full-time employment. And over 50% of all of the participants in the program reported that they were earning higher wages as a result of their participation in the program. So this is a real example of something that we all know, that education and training is a core part of our efforts to make sure that all Vermonters are able to find a good job, earn a livable wage, and support their families. So Governor Scott, thank you very much for the support that you've given to VSAC, and more importantly, the support that you're offering to students across the state through your budget request to help them put themselves on a path towards additional success. Now, we have the privilege today of being surrounded by kind of a large coterie of kind of friends and students, and I'd like to take a minute to introduce kind of several of them. I'll read off their names and then we'll invite a couple of them to come up and tell their stories. So we have Elizabeth DeCarmine, Liz back there. Robin Lane, the Director of Skill Tech. Robin. Brenda McNellis. Hi, Brenda. Aretha Flomo. Aretha. Rose Reed. Yeah. Tia Taranjo. Right there, Tia, good. Pranita Dahal. Yeah. Doma Pandy. Justin Evans. So Justin back there. And Dan Hawksworth, the Director of Capstone, one of our kind of critical partners in all of this. Now, I've shared with you some of the statistics that I think demonstrate the critical importance of this program, but I think more powerful are the stories of the students that have participated. So it's hard to pick from this group because we have so many kind of wonderful and compelling individuals. But what I'd like to do is ask if Elizabeth DeCarmine would come up and share a few words about her experience. Sure. Introduce yourself and tell a little bit of your story.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth DeCarmine and I am 37. I'm currently living in Northfield, Vermont. I have 3 boys and I kind of found myself without a job and headed over to the PATH department and was kind of going over my options, and it was brought to my attention that Capstone would be a great option for me since I like to cook and it could, you know, propel me into the future. So upon filling out the paperwork and kind of jumping right into it, I found that it was an awesome place for me to start. Everybody, all the staff were very helpful. The doors it opens up, you know, we went to CCV for follow-up education, and just everything that it offers. It was just a really great thing for me to do. And, you know, I really hadn't finished a lot in my life until I graduated from this program. I had all 3 of my children there, and that was like the most amazing feeling. And so that was really awesome for me, and I would highly recommend the program to anyone thinking that they can't maybe do it, that there's obstacles. I've faced so many things, you know, homelessness, all kinds of things during the program, and I still succeeded, I still graduated, and then I landed a really good job like 2 days after graduation. So I would really say the program is a success, and anyone willing to take the first step, it would really benefit them.
Thank you. I wonder if I could ask Rose to come.
So I'm Rose, and when I was, I don't know, I think I was 19 when I first started thinking about college. I was a young mom with 2 kids, and I really had no clue how I was going to pay for it since I had 2 parents that barely graduated high school. And I was working at Dunkin' Donuts at the time, which felt like a really dead-end job. And then VSAC said, well, there's this thing called non-degree grant, and I said, well, let's try it. I don't have a clue what I'm gonna do with my life, but college sounds like a good idea. There's gotta be something better than Dunkin' Donuts. And here I am today with a double associate's degree in early childhood ed and a job at the family place in the child care, which is amazing, and working towards my bachelor's in psychology. So that is amazing. I think this non-degree grant funding is an amazing thing, and I think anybody who can utilize that should. And I think the other thing that, like the capstone program, any programs out there, we need to get our youth encouraged to make them feel like they can do this. Because I think there's a lot of kids out there that really just are so unsure. So I think that's the biggest thing, that in my job where I am now, earning the associates through that non-degree grant funding, that I learned was giving people that motivation, that push that I got from VSAC, from CCB, from all those people that supported me and gave me that faith that I didn't have. I think that I'm learning to give that to other people when I see that they're lacking it. So I think as a native Vermonter, that I'm finding that that was the one thing that I was missing that I can in future give to my fellow Vermonters. And I think that it's important that we keep that here through the non-degree grant, through the capstone program, through other programs, and through just being ourselves, being who we are. So, thank you.
And Rose's story is not uncommon. Many times we find non-degree grant recipients using the non-degree grant as a way to get some of their first early childhood education credentials. I'd like to invite Aretha Flomo to come speak, if you would please go on.
Hi everybody, my name is Aretha Flomo. I came in Vermont 2013. When I got in this state, I went from place to place looking for a job. And it's like some area that I went, people asked me, what can you do? It was always a question I was faced with. And at that time, I have no career. So I'm like, well, what am I going to do? I don't have any permanent job that I can say, oh no, I have this career, I have this. So luckily for me, I was able to meet with Robin Lane, who have her school a skill test, and she made me to know that there's an opportunity for me, which is a non-degree grant that can be found at VSAC. I'm like, whoa! I said, that sounds great. How am I going to get that? And she was able to give me a form, and I filled in the form and took it to VSAC. I was able to get the grant, and I started to attend skill tests, of which I was able to go through and went through the LNA, and I graduated. After my graduation, I was able, personally I'm working at Green Mountain Nursing Home and also rehab. Can you imagine that? A lady that came that did not have any career. But because of the importance of this non-degree grant at VSAC, today I can boast of working to 2 years now. So I'm so proud of this important time of my life and this opportunity that I had, and I'm willing to make use of it. And I can tell anybody about the non-degree grant. And I'm so proud of Robin Lane. Yes, I'm proud of her. That somebody can call me LNA today. Can you imagine? I'm so glad. And thank Visa Star for what they have done for me. I thank you all.
much. Really inspiring stories, and I think it really underscores the importance of the vision that we have in terms of early care through technical education and beyond. And they've been able to tell their stories about a little bit of each. So I think to move forward and think about the full spectrum of education in this way is valuable. So congratulations to each and every one of you, and very proud to be here in front of you to help out in any way we can. With that, we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Well, when you proposed your education plan on Tuesday, what I've heard so far, that people love the VSAC component, higher ed component, the early ed component. It's the funding change reform and the whole notion that there isn't any time left. Everybody's under the gun. What are you doing to try to overcome those concerns?
Well, certainly having some conversations, had the committee chairs of education in yesterday to discuss where we go from here. I would like to, at least, I've always throughout my career, political career, trying to find areas where we can agree. And if we can agree on the vision, if we can agree on the concept, then we can talk about how we get there. And I believe there's enough capacity, financial capacity, in the K through 12 system to be able to utilize some of those funds for early childhood care and learning, as well as for higher ed. So I'm looking forward to having a conversation with the legislature about this, as long as they agree with my vision, and we can do this without raising taxes and fees. I think that's half the battle, is agreeing to the vision.
So if school districts are unwilling or unable to level fund their budgets or increase the teachers' health insurance piece of it, is this $1 million in danger, or could that still go forward whether or not the K-12 system level funds?
Well, again, if the legislature can agree with this concept, that we really have to right-size the K through 12 system and trying to find some efficiencies, trying to do whatever we can to find funding that we can utilize in the early childhood care and learning, as well as for higher education, then we can accomplish the goals of what I look forward to presenting. But I don't want us to get caught up on ways of doing that. If they have other means, I've placed my pathway, my road map of sorts to how we can get there, and if they don't agree at this point, I'm all ears in terms of how we can accomplish the goals of this initiative.
A lot of people are complaining about the timeline. They're saying that they have to run their budgets next week. So how do you expect people to deal with that, especially here in the legislature?
Right, as quickly as possible.
Right, by next week?
Yes, I think if we can agree that I've heard some of the feedback, and I want to reiterate that we're not taking town meeting a day away. We're actually adding another opportunity for those to get involved in their local education system. So having May 23rd is another opportunity for more taxpayers to get involved in their local schools. Gives us school boards another 3 months in order to take a look to see what they can do to level fund their budgets. And I think that it's just a great opportunity. What I've heard over the last 16 years since I've been in this building is common complaint is that they feel pressured. Many of the local communities feel pressured because they don't know what's going to happen in the legislature by the time they have to vote on their budgets. I think that this makes some sense, maybe for this year and beyond, that we push it out into May.
If there's, go ahead. You've been in the legislature. Have you ever seen a bill of this magnitude pass in a week's time through both chambers?
Well, I'm just saying a change in the date. We don't have to agree with every piece of it, but regardless of whether you agree we should be level funding or not, having that date, May 23rd, more opportunity for school boards to engage with the community, to find areas where they can actually find some savings. I think, I'm not sure I'm understanding what the downside is to that.
Who would pay for that special election on May 23rd? Would that be a burden on the municipality to organize another meeting, or would the state contribute to the cost of that?
Well, We haven't discussed the details of that. I'm not sure what the cost would be, other than warning the meeting. Possibly, if there are some communities who have printed ballots already, I'm sure we could find some relief for them.
If this short window passes without them passing legislation to have this second town meeting day, what are some alternative mechanisms that they could use, in your view, to extract these savings from the public education system?
Well, it seems as though, and I used this during the campaign, the legislature had asked for a study, the Picus report. They came up with $500 million worth of savings, I believe. And I don't believe the legislature acted upon any of that. So maybe they ought to look at the report that they asked for. Maybe they can find some savings there that could, ongoing savings. So we can't raise taxes and fees. I've set that bit of a line in the sand there. I don't think Vermonters can afford to pay any more. I think if we agree on the vision in terms of early child care learning and higher ed and that full spectrum to be beneficial for all of us, then let's see how we can get there. Let's open our minds. Let's not be so reactive to saying no. Let's figure out a way to say yes.
But this concept is all you have. The bucket of possibilities is empty beyond this, in terms of proposals for
again, I'm all ears. I think that they have some opportunities. Again, the Picus report was something that was provided to them, something they paid a great deal of money to have done, the report done.
Did you find anything in the Picus report that you would propose?
Well, I found that there was $500 million worth of savings, and there were a number of initiatives in there, but I'm sure that there might be something there that could be utilized. I just put together a path forward that I believe could be accomplished, but understanding that they may be resistant to that, let's figure out a way to accomplish the goal.
Well, what about the $50 million budget hole if they decide they're not going to go with your plan? How do they resolve that? Do you have suggestions for them for
we'll work with them.
resolving that?
I mean, this isn't a closed door on anything, but I think they have a responsibility to react to their constituents. I didn't find too many. In fact, I can't remember finding any of those throughout Vermont who thought they wanted to pay more in taxes and fees. Most of the people I spoke with said that they'd had enough. So we're going to have to find ways to save money, to live within our means, just like we've asked of them individually, just like we've asked our businesses to do, and I'm planning to follow through.
A couple of the mayors had a news conference a few minutes ago, and a couple who support you and agree with your goal wonder again about the timing because they're hearing it from their communities. And they said, let's shoot for a year from now. Give people time to digest all of this. And is that a possibility?
Well, we find ourselves in fairly dire straits. We're starting this year with $70 million less than we had than a year ago. I mean, we have a revenue shortfall of $70 million and less money to start the year off than we did a year ago. So I would say we have a situation on our hands that needs to be solved. I'll work with the legislature if they have creative ways to doing that. I would be willing to listen, but it has to be sustainable. It can't be just one-time money. That's what's been happening over the last 10 years, just filling holes, one-time money, plugging the holes here and there, and that's not sustainable. We proved it, and we're in this situation today because of it. So we're going to have some bold action. What I put on the table, admittedly, was bold, but I think that that's what Vermonters want. They want a change. They don't believe that this is sustainable, and they don't believe we're moving in the right direction. So I gave them a path forward, and I'd be willing to listen to whatever they had to say from here.
Scott Giles, you get $1 million to help more people like these, but it comes from the K-12 system. Is that okay?
I think that the one thing that we're clear about is that all students, will require education and training after high school in order to be able to earn a livable wage. And so, I think that, one of the things that we learned over time is that it's critically important to think about the full range of educational opportunities that we make available to Vermont students of all ages. And it's critically important that we find ways that we're meeting all of those needs effectively. So, while I think the governor has kind of proposed a particular funding mechanism, the part that we are really clear on is the need that is reflected and represented by each and every one of these students here, and the opportunity that the new money would create for them.
The more money they earn, the better they do, the better off our economy is. And that's what we need to do. We need to rebuild our economy. We need more of our youth to stay in the state, come to the state, become more of a magnet for many who want a more prosperous Vermont. So I think this is a worthwhile program. Again, I set the goals, I set the vision, propose the path forward, and now we'll see what the legislature will do with that.
Some lawmakers are saying that your past program could violate the Bergen decision. What do you think of that?
Well, I don't believe it does, but I guess that's their prerogative.
5 minutes, guys.
What are you going to do about Donald Trump's decision to move ahead with not providing funding to sanctuary cities? What if some of the cities in Vermont decide that they want to provide sanctuary? Will you help those cities financially? Will you come out and make a statement about some level of support?
Yeah, I've directed our Department of Public Safety to take a look, as well as our General Counsel, to take a look at those executive orders to see what situation that puts us in. I read with interest the Attorney General is moving forward with a task force. I'll be speaking with him about the results of that. I think we're all on the same page. We need to protect, I made a commitment to protect Vermonters, all Vermonters, and I believe that we have a moral obligation to do so. So, of course, we have to adhere to law, but we have to understand the ramifications as well. So we'll protect Vermonters. We'll do everything we can. I look forward to the end of February going to the National Governors Association. I'm sure that there are other governors facing the same issues that we are, and I will seek advice and camaraderie with them.
What's your opinion of the executive orders that Donald Trump has signed this week related to immigration?
Well, although it's not surprising to me that to see the executive orders, I'm disappointed about the tone and the direction this sets for us. As I've said many times, I came from Barrie with a rich ethnic history, and I believe that immigration is part of the path forward for us in Vermont. I think it could be extremely helpful for our economy. And I just think that this pushes us in the wrong direction.
Has your office or you reached out to the Trump administration, the delegation? What are you doing to try to make them aware of the consequences back home?
Right. We've been communicating with our federal delegation, Senator Leahy's office in particular, and we're working closely with them as well, reaching out to other groups throughout Vermont, and to at least calm the fears and know that we will support them. We'll do everything we can to protect them.
And Public Safety Commissioner Anderson is here as well if you have any specific questions on the process.
Is there a possibility that we might become a sanctuary state? Do we advocate for that?
Well, I think the Attorney General talked a bit about sanctuary cities yesterday, and again, I'm not sure that we rely, to be perfectly honest, we rely an incredible amount on federal funds here in the state. About half of our budget is based on federal funding. So we want to make sure that we protect our resources while protecting Vermonters. So we have to look at the ramifications, what I'm saying, and what that really means. And I think that that's what our Attorney General is seeking to do. What are the ramifications of being sanctuary cities, as well as what that would mean, I guess, would lead us to what that would mean as a sanctuary state.
What do you think it means at this point?
I'm sorry?
What do you think it means at this point?
Well, I know the President has issued some sort of directive in terms of sanctuary cities losing federal funding. So Again, I don't know what the ramifications, how much that is, what that would mean. But once again, we're not the only state that receives federal funding. We're not the only state that has sanctuary cities. And we're not the only state that tries to encourage immigration and refugees and taking care of those who seek refuge. We'll continue to protect them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Some information on a study